Hey, what's up, fellas? And welcome back to another episode of the Public Announcement Podcast. And today, our main topic is going to be we are going to be basically returning back to the Red Pill topic and the Red Pill community in general because they have been pretty active creating these subgroups among their communities. They are pretty much different classification of men, and they are trying to divert themselves from the classical alpha/beta model, and that one is sort of going into extinction, and they're using these notations like gamma, sigma, zeta, omega. I think there was male. So they're just taking letters from the Greek alphabet and just stamping them on some groups and shit. We're gonna discuss why this phenomenon happens, what does it mean, and if it's helpful or not for the community. So to introduce you into the topics for the people who didn't listen to the Red Pill episode, there are these two main archetypes of man, and that is supposed to be the alpha male and the beta male. To sum it up, the alpha is the leader, the beta is the follower. And we have discussed this in the previous podcast and the problems with this and how the dating community relates to this. But the terms have been thrown around the dating community so long that people have started to question if they are the only terms that they can use. And well, the community or the manosphere, the Red Pill whatever community, have realized that some people don't fit into neither of these categories, and as it is with every single group that comes across this phenomenon, new groups or subgroups are created. So there are the two main groups, and then there are these subgroups created. Now, you might have not known this, but the manosphere or the Red Pill community has their own Wikipedia. So I will be using information mainly from there. It's called like Wikimandia, something like that. They like highlighted the man there as a cheeky joke or something. It's kind of interesting that they have to keep a Wikipedia at this point to sort of have all the terms at one place. But to basically sum it up, there are like gammas, sigmas, there are zetas, there are omegas. So they're just creating subgroups at this point that every man can relate. Now, what I noticed with these groups, I kind of read about the topic a bit, because of course there are the top 10 lists, like top 10 defining characters of a sigma male, or top 10 defining characters of a gamma male, or how top 5 differences between alpha and sigma, right? And I read through it, and basically what it comes across to me is that they're trying to make characteristics that would be otherwise considered negative sound kind of badass. And for example, let me give you an example. For example, instead of saying shy or having social anxiety, you say that you're silent and you're thinking and that you're not caring about social hierarchies. Now, in all honesty, it's the same fucking thing, just said it's a different tone. Silence and being shy, I mean, they too have both outcomes. You don't fucking speak to people, right? But if you don't have the capabilities to speak to people, well, then you're just shy or have social anxiety. But if you have the capabilities to be social, if you choose not to be social, well, then yeah, you could say you're not caring about social hierarchies, or you just like to be silent. But that's a different skill. It's not about, oh, I cannot talk to people, so I am the silent one. That's not about this. It's about correctly defining what positive and negative characteristics you have, because nobody is perfect. Everybody has their positives and negatives, and then working on them. I mean, you can overcome shyness by trying to talk to more people, but if you say, oh, I'm silent, then it seems like, oh, I'm very good actually. Oh, I'm so smart. I'm such an intelligent human being. I don't have to work on anything. And it reminds me one of those shitty memes that there would be like that anime character or somebody, and it would be like, many people know me on my good side, but not all know me with my bad side. Or when you make me angry, you don't know my bad side. You know what the nice guys say? It just reminds you of that, and that is exactly what I want to get to. It's the core mechanic of these small groups that happens, and it always is. It's the same fucking thing in every single group. These groups are supposed to be a cover-up for people who are in denial, simply. And it always has been, and it always will be like that. Because there will always be people who actually can fit into the groups. As I said, there can be a person who chooses to be silent in social occasions. Perfectly fine. But he has to understand that that person has to be able to communicate when needed. Some people say, oh, I'm silent, and they don't communicate. They don't have the capabilities. But that's fine. I mean, not everybody can be a social life of the party type of guy, right? But you have to acknowledge it. You cannot say, oh no, I'm a Sigma male, and I don't talk to people. I'm so cool and badass. Like, if you go, after this video, search on the internet Sigma male or something, or traits of a Sigma male, and read through the fucking lists. It's bullshit. They're just talking crap. They're just trying to sell you something, some idea that's not even true. And I understand that maybe 2 or 3% of the people are actually Sigma males or Gamma males or whatever. But those people don't have to define it. Those people don't have to say, oh, I'm a Sigma male. It's the same thing with Alpha and Beta males. It's like you're showing fingers, like alpha male is good, beta male is bad. So I'm an alpha male. And wow, look at me, I'm so confident. It's fucking pathetic. Not everybody is born to be a natural reader, and that is perfectly fine. There have to be people who have to work hard and bring in results, and those people are just as valuable as the people leading. If there would be only people leading, let's say in a company, if there would be only CEOs or the managers or whatever, nothing would get fucking done. Everybody would just point fingers where the next guy should go, and nobody would actually go there. It's not badass to be the leader, to be the alpha male. Of course they have all the benefits, but there is a certain benefit to just working your way and not having it all. Those people, they don't really realize it. And the true alpha males, they don't really need the group alpha male. They don't need to go around and say, I'm an alpha male. Those are those people who are actually not alpha males, and they just constantly have to tell you that they're alpha male in order to reinforce the idea. That's the same thing with Sigma and Gamma. All these subgroups, they're the same. It's people in denial talking about it so they feel like they're actually not in denial and that they actually are it. And in every hierarchy, it's very beneficial to keep it simple, alright? The alpha and beta model, it was bulletproof, right? You are either an alpha or an beta. There is nothing in between. There is just two groups, and you either cling more to one or more to second. Of course there are gonna be differences. Of course there are gonna be people they have some traits from the alpha, but they're beta. Or they are alpha, but they are insecure about it, right? It's the same thing. It always happens. Because you cannot have just two people that are divided into two subgroups because there are so many differences. But that doesn't mean we have to create new subgroups in order to have these people included. And that's the point. These people want to be included because the people who sell them the crap, they want the largest audience. So they create this jargon. This is all made up jargon. This is not somebody actually defining it that way. Alpha and beta, that's a definition that has been actually used in science also, or in psychology. Delta, sigma, and fucking gamma, it has not been used by any fucking body except the manosphere people. And even if you look at the Wikipedia, they use quotes from somebody else saying it. Like, somebody else made up a fucking jargon, and they're like, okay, let's start using it. And it's kind of widespread at this point, right? There are videos made about it. There are top 10 lists made about it. Now, me personally, I don't have any personal grievance. Like, do whatever the fuck you want. But it's for the people who think they are somehow stronger or more efficient because they're a gamma male. That's fucking pathetic. People have somehow lost, or maybe the majority of people have somehow lost the ability to just not be part of a group and to just be an individual, right? And that is sometimes needed. Of course, I don't say you should go full individual mode and whatever doesn't concern you directly isn't your concern, right? I mean, you have to cling to certain social groups, but this is just pathetic. If you're truly a Sigma male, you don't even fucking know that you're a Sigma male. You don't have to have these top 10 characteristics that define you. That is not needed. This is needed for the people who desperately want to become that, so they actually study those things and they're okay, I'm gonna act like this. It reminds me of the people who self-diagnose themselves with diseases or something, but not actual diseases, like diseases in the head, right? They say, oh, I'm a psychopath. Like, where the fuck did you come to that conclusion? Like, on the internet, you looked up top 10 things a psychopath does? It's the placebo effect at the end of the day. You look at it and you're like, yeah, I do this sometimes. I must be a psychopath. Or I must have the bipolar disorder. Wow, that is awesome. It's not awesome. It's people trying to be in a groups and at the end facing denial. These small subgroups are a coping mechanism with that you are not actually what you dream to be. To conclude this episode, the gamma, sigma, and whatever fucking other male will come. There's actually an zeta male or something. I heard, if you go to the Wikipedia, there's a full list. You should stop lying to yourself. That's the first step. And it's easier said than done, actually, but try to be honest with yourself. Try to look at what you actually do, and don't be afraid to just say, oh, I have negative things about me, or, oh, in some cases, don't be afraid to say, oh, I have some positives. Everybody has positives, everybody has negatives, because we possess abilities that in certain situations can prove to be negative or positive. That's just the way it fucking goes. There is no changing that, there is no becoming somebody else. There is no pretending to be somebody else. That's not what this is about. And if you really want to become a part of a group or you want to be part of a collective, that's all good. But don't be afraid to have certain characteristics that are not really in the group, or you don't have to be precisely textbook group-like. You don't have to have the top 10 characteristics of a sigma male in order to not be an alpha or a beta. That is what I'm essentially trying to say, that people should stop using these subgroups and subcategories to deal with their problems, and should stop using groups or social groups to somehow make themselves go further in denial and try to become part of something which they're actually not. Group identities can make you feel uncomfortable, and they will if you don't truly agree with them, and they can be helpful, they can be a guidance. But you don't pretend, just don't pretend, because that will make you miserable in the long run. You have to find the truth, even though it will piss you off. And with that, I do end my episode. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll hear each other in 2 weeks? Yeah, 2 weeks time. Thank you so much.